Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this morning's Morning 4321. We are in Genesis chapter 39. We are back in the story of Joseph. In Genesis chapter 39, actually in Genesis chapter 37, Joseph was taken by his brothers and sold into slavery, and so his whole life changed. He went from being this privileged child to now he's going to be living as a slave. We jump back into his life in chapter 39, and we find that he is working for an Egyptian official by the name of Potiphar. And God is blessing him. We find in verse 2, the Lord is with Joseph. He became a successful man, and he was in the house of his Egyptian master. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, so his master entrusted him, and Joseph just excelled at what he did. But a problem arises beginning in verse 6. We are told that he was handsome in form and in appearance. In verse 7, and after this time his master's wife cast her eyes on Joseph and said, "Lie with me." But he refused, and said to his master's wife, "Behold, because of me, my master has no concern about anything in the house, and he's put everything he has in my charge." And he refuses her advancements. Well, that turns her away from him, and she turns on him. She attacks him. He runs away, and then she takes those garments and she accuses him of attacking her. And, well, the husband, I believe my slave or my wife, he believes his wife, and Joseph is put in prison. By the end of this chapter, Joseph is this guy he's just trying to do what's right, but now not only is he a slave, but now he's been thrown into prison. But even then, God continues to bless him. And so we'll pick that up in just a second. David, what do you have?
I want to make an application for verse 9, that famous statement at the end of verse 9 when Joseph says, "How could I do this great evil and sin against God?" We need to realize that Joseph is not saying that his sin might not affect other people. It would wrong Potiphar. It would really wrong Potiphar's wife by him giving in. But Joseph really saw, because of his relationship with God, his actions had a direct bearing on that relationship. And I think it's just a warning for us to think about the consequences of our action in relationship to God. We're going to reflect upon God. His glory is either going to be amplified or be degraded. Or also the idea that it just shows a lack of gratitude to spurn everything that God has done for me and not recognize that He has a prominent role in what I do and how I do it.
Yeah. And the thing I would bring out from this chapter, well, there are a lot of things, so many things that you could bring out, but Joseph went from being this favored son who had everything in the world, and he seemed to be a little bit of a brat in chapter 37, to now he's a slave, although he does a little better, but he's still a slave. And then finally, at the end of the chapter, he's thrown in prison. While he probably could have acted better towards his brothers, you still get the idea that he was a decent guy. And I think one of the lessons we need to learn from this is sometimes even when we're trying to do right, there are going to be bad things that will happen to us. And the temptation in those moments is to think that God's not with us, or God doesn't care about us, God's forgotten about us. But over and over again in this chapter, the reader is reassured that that's not the case with Joseph. God is blessing him. In verse 21, the Lord was with Joseph, even when he was in prison, and showed him steadfast love and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. You and I need to realize when difficult times come, that does not mean God doesn't love us. God will be with us if we are His faithful children. He will be with us. He still loves us, and He will bring us through those times, just as He brought Joseph through his times. All right, hope those things helped you as you think today. If you have any lessons that you learned from this chapter, jot them down in the comments below. We'd love to interact with you. Thank you very much. God bless. Have a great day.